The dining room was loud in the way family dinners always are, chairs scraping, someone laughing too hard at a joke that wasn't funny, plates clinking like punctuation. I noticed my daughter standing beside her chair before anyone else did. She wasn't running around or fidgeting for attention. She was still, hands pressed against the edge of the table, eyes lowered. "Sit down," my sister said gently, the way adults do when they assume obedience will solve the problem. My daughter tried. She lowered herself halfway, stiffened, then stood again. Her face tightened, not theatrically, just enough to suggest effort. "I don't feel good," she said almost to herself. My mother sighed. "She's been like this all day," she said, to no one in particular. "She gets dramatic when she's tired." The word landed heavier than it should have. Dramatic. It was a familiar label, one that followed my daughter like a shadow. I felt the reflex to smooth things over rise in me, the instinct to nod, to agree, to keep the evening intact. "She can eat standing up," my father said. "It's fine." But my daughter leaned closer to me then, her mouth near my ear. Her voice dropped to a whisper that carried no performance at all. "Mummy, it hurts." Something shifted. Not loudly. Just enough. I looked at her properly for the first time that evening. The way she was holding herself. The carefulness. The concentration it took just to be there. This wasn't refusal. It was endurance. "Where does it hurt?" I asked. She hesitated, as if choosing words mattered. "Inside. When I sit." Around us, conversation resumed. Someone passed the bread. Someone poured wine. Life continued at a volume that assumed nothing serious was happening. "She's fine," my sister said, smiling too quickly. "Kids complain." I felt torn in that familiar way, between the comfort of consensus and the discomfort of dissent. I had trusted these people my whole life. I had learned, early on, that making a fuss rarely led to clarity, only friction. But my daughter's hand had curled into the fabric of my sleeve. She wasn't crying. She wasn't begging. She was asking to be believed. "I'm taking her home?" I said. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. There were objections, of course. Not sharp ones. Practical ones. "It's probably nothing. You'll wait all night at the ER? She just doesn't want to sit at the table." I listened without arguing. Then I stood up, gathered our things, and thanked everyone for dinner. In the car, my daughter was quiet. Too quiet. I asked questions gently, not wanting to frighten her, but wanting to understand. She answered simply. The pain had started days ago. It came and went. Sitting made it worse. She hadn't told me because she didn't want to cause trouble. That sentence undid me more than the pain itself. At the clinic, the waiting room smelled like disinfectant and old magazines. We waited longer than I wanted to. Long enough for doubt to creep back in. Long enough for me to wonder if I'd overreacted. When we were finally called in, the nurse didn't rush. She asked my daughter questions directly. Listened to her answers without correcting them. Took notes. Then the doctor came in. He didn't smile too much. He didn't minimize. He asked for details. He examined carefully. And then, midway through, his demeanor changed, not dramatically but noticeably. His movements became more precise. His questions more specific. "I'm glad you brought her in," he said finally. Those words alone were enough to make my stomach drop. Tests followed. Imaging. Waiting again, this time heavier. My daughter lay still, brave in that quiet way children are when they trust you completely. When the doctor returned, he didn't speak around the issue. "This isn't behavioral," he said. "She has a condition that's been developing for a while. Sitting aggravates it. Ignoring it could have caused serious complications." I felt the room narrow. Relief and guilt collided in my chest. "Is she going to be okay?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "Because you came in when you did." There was no celebration in that, just fact. Later, when I told my family, the responses were subdued. Awkward apologies. Statements that began with, "we didn't realize," and ended without resolution. No one meant harm. That almost made it harder. What changed wasn't them. It was me. I no longer negotiated my child's reality to keep peace. I listened sooner, acted faster, trusted the quiet signals instead of the loud opinions. My daughter healed. Slowly. Fully. And sometimes, when she sits comfortably now, she leans over and whispers something else. Thank you for listening. I always tell her the truth. I'm sorry it took me so long.